Hello, this is Robert Hunt, Superintendent of Chagrin Falls Schools, and today I am joined by Dr. Jones. Dr. Jones, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
So, pretty interesting times in education and in everyone's life. I'm just curious on how you're managing this personally and professionally. How's your schedule look on a daily basis, or what's it look like?
Well, like everybody else, it's very different. Um, I am now joined by my 20-year-old son who's been moved out of his dorm room. So we're getting used to living together again. So that's made life very interesting. Um, but that and walking my dog a lot. And over spring break, I took on some home improvement projects, painted some rooms, things like that. So personally, I've been trying to just fill my time like everybody else. Professionally, it's been interesting. Just I'm trying to stick to a schedule. I get up about the same time I get up, even when I'm actually going to the school. Get dressed, have my coffee, but instead of getting into my car, I walk down the hall to my home office here and log on to the computer. And first thing I usually do in the morning now is go through Google Classrooms and post on morning messages and see what kids are posting on morning messages. That's how I've been starting my days.
So, I think people be curious, what other types of things are you doing on a daily basis? What other meetings are you in, and kind of what does that look like?
So because we're kind of, creating things as we go here, there's a lot of smaller team meetings, it seems like, throughout the week. So, for example, today I've already met with our tutors. I've already met with my building leadership team. I might meet with a grade level team tomorrow to talk about something specific to their grade level. Um, I try to carve out time because my email inbox is flooded, it seems like, as we jump back into this virtual learning world, just with troubleshooting and questions and hey, don't forget to think about this coming up and that coming up. I try to connect with my fellow elementary principals across the state through our organization, OAESA. They have been putting out pretty regularly some guidance and suggestions and resources that I can then pass on to my staff. Um, you know, and just finding out anywhere that I can help teachers or parents. It's amazing how fast the day goes. And I feel a little bit like air traffic control sometimes in front of my computer. And then my phone text will go off and then somebody will post this. And so, yeah, I've been surprised at how fast the days go.
So we had to move into this kind of virtual learning pretty quickly. And I think when I talked to the Gurney staff, I had no idea, being kind of a secondary guy, what this was going to look like. And, I'm kind of dealing with it a little bit as a parent, on the elementary side. But talk about the transition to virtual learning at the elementary school. What's been, probably most challenging, and what's going really well?
I mean, just facing the unknown is always a challenge. And I mean, it's a big school, 500 students roughly. I'm third grade and under. So not a lot of independence, even when we're in the physical building. So online, I think our biggest challenge is we've known from the get-go that we are going to have to enlist parents as our partners. And that's hard because, we know, I mean, most of my staff are parents, young parents, so they have their own kids at home too. And we know parents are working, and it's just a real difficult balance and trying to accommodate all different schedules and give everybody what they need. That's probably been the biggest challenge, but I've been amazed. Um, I think the first day we were out, it was a Friday, and we kicked off our staff training, and everybody was looking very nervous. You were there that morning.
Mhm.
And I remember saying to the staff, look, our initial expectation is that we want your students to either see you or hear you as their teacher every day. And it can be recorded, but somehow they need to see you or hear you every day. And the look of shock on the staff's face is like, how are we going to do that? We'll never make that happen. To today, like fast forward to today, where they're scheduling Zoom conferences and Google Hangouts with small groups of kids and one-on-one kids. Kindergarten through third grade have done Zoom conferences. There was a kindergarten class that had Zoom brunch on Sunday. It's like shock and awe. And I think for the first time in my career, I feel like I'm just trying to keep up with my staff. I feel like I'm usually the one saying, here's another idea, and pushing. And nowadays, when I have the idea and I go to them, half of them already had it and they're doing it. So I'm trying to keep up and support them as best I can. But the creativity and the enthusiasm of the staff and the students and the parents has just made this take off. And it's been actually really exciting to watch.
So you hit on something a minute ago. You talked about the parent role in this and having to have a role. And, I'm experiencing that as well in terms of, how much do you help? So as a parent, if we were to ask that question, like kind of where's that boundary, when Emmy's looking at number patterns and it's not going the way I want it to go, what do I do with that? And what guidance would you give to parents?
In this situation, there are no mistakes. If you're there with your child and you're engaged in learning, and even if it's a struggle in learning, they're not understanding something, you're doing the right thing, no matter what. And we appreciate that. We always tell our own students in the building, when you're helping a friend, teach, don't tell. That's the big difference. When you're thinking about going to tell them something, stop for a minute and turn it into a question. Let them come to their own conclusion. That's the best way we can kind of put it to you. But if they're really stuck, you know your own child, so you don't want them to reach that level of frustration where they shut down. At some point, you do give it to them, and maybe you email the teacher and say, this was really hard, I had to give it to her, and she's just not getting it. But we really are dependent on parents, even if it's just being physically near their child while their child's working, so that they don't, accidentally click on YouTube videos instead of, what they're supposed to be doing.
So talk about that, level of frustration with, a young child. And what if we experience that where they're frustrated, maybe they've, been at the computer for a half hour or so, and they're definitely demonstrating a level of frustration. What do you recommend we do?
Walk away, shut it down, go play a game. The most important thing out of this whole experience is going to be how everybody feels in the end and what they remember. And that is not what you want them to remember from all of this. You don't want to lose their confidence. You don't want to lose their love for learning. You just tell them, sometimes that happens, we're going to stop now, we're going to take a break, or we'll come back to it tomorrow, and we will email the teacher and see, we're going to move on. But the most important thing is just how they're feeling emotionally and what their confidence level is. So never let it get to that point. It's just not worth it.
So there's been a lot of change, and coming at us. And, even yesterday, the governor announced now this is going through, May 1st, hearing that, how do you react to knowing that this is going to be the environment for at least until May 1st? And there's a chance it could certainly be the rest of the year. What's your reaction to that?
That was a deep breath. I think we all kind of took a collective deep breath. I feel better about that announcement now than I probably would have 2 or 3 weeks ago, knowing what our staff capacity is now and their enthusiasm for it. I met with my building leadership team this morning, and we did talk about this. We're out for the long haul now, and so where we are testing different platforms and different applications, we're going to need to shift next week and beyond into, we need to be teaching brand new concepts now, and what's the best delivery method for that, and the best way to reinforce it. And we can't have some of those, outliers, those students that aren't engaged out there anymore. It's just too important. It's too long a period of time. So what's our plan going to be to bring those students, back in? And there really aren't very many, but every single student, is worthy of us reaching out as much as we can to bring them back in, keep them engaged.
So, and this may be premature because I think we're all dealing with trying to understand House Bill 197 and the implications that the legislator took. We know that they removed testing kind of away from schools for this year. Any idea what does that mean for your building, specific probably to the third grade reading guarantee?
So they eliminated the consequence of the third grade reading guarantee, the retention consequence. So now it's really if you have a student that hasn't met the criteria yet, it's really a decision between the principal and the teacher, the parents, and looking at that student's progress up until the point that we left. Not having the testing opportunity, we feel like we had enough opportunities really up until that point, because we do use iReady diagnostics, and we gave that twice already this year. So our students were in a pretty good place when it comes to meeting that criteria already. What I really liked hearing was that they are very mindful of, the lost instructional time here. So our fall testing next fall usually happens like the first week of October. They'll test third graders in English language arts. And what the House bill said is that that testing won't take place until after November 1st. So giving those students the time to really catch up and show their best. I think that, at least to me, indicated that they're being mindful of that with these third graders. So that was important.
So is any of that almost freeing in a way? I mean, is that how, if Dr. Jones was running the state superintendent here running things, the decision on between the teacher, the parent, and the principal, and the guidance counselor on whether retention is appropriate or moving on is appropriate. Is there some element of that that's freeing for you?
It is in a way. We're fortunate in this district. We're a rather high performing district, right? So it's not that we're in that situation very often. It's pretty rare, actually. But the conversation related to retention comes up every year with students at every grade level, really, in our building. But the pressure of it being law in third grade and having that lifted is, I think it's freeing in that I know that the teachers and the parents won't feel that pressure and that stress because that's what I think, really impacts the climate in your school.
So one of the things when I've talked to other people about how we're going about things, and one of the things that maybe impresses me most about our staff and our teachers and even our principals for leading it, in that it's not just about content and curriculum. I see our staff trying to kind of retain the connections with students, and really Gurney does a great job of building that sense of community. How is that going? What types of things do you see teachers doing? And I have to imagine that's probably one of the most difficult parts of this is keeping that sense of community.
Right. We talked about that the couple training days we had before we were all, definitely staying at home. And the first way we started with that was with Padlet, the application Padlet in our Google Classrooms. And it was really important because using that allows students to see other students' answers and maybe even pictures or video clips. So it's really important for students to see us, but when students could see each other, boy, did they light up. So we're feeding off of the reactions that we see. Okay, this is something that they really appear to need. How can we increase it in an educational and appropriate way? So creating slideshows, collaborative docs within Google Classroom so they can see each other's words and things like that. I know that our Encore teachers are encouraging with their activities, have your parents post pictures of you doing our Encore classes on Twitter and Facebook, and kids get to see each other. And maybe one student's holding up their artwork for today, and they get to see on Twitter, on their parents' Twitter feed, other second graders holding up their artwork from the day too, and feel that connection. Teachers are, recording themselves doing morning messages. In kindergarten, the teachers literally say good morning to every single student's name, one-on-one, and how important that is for kids to hear that. I've even started a chapter a day read aloud, The Wizard of Oz, so kids can see me and they can see my dog. And I think the more visuals and interactive we can get, we've learned, the kids get the most excited about that. So we've just tried to be creative in how we do that.
So talk about what I should do as a parent, or a parent should do if they're sensing their child is starting to feel some of this isolation. What would be the appropriate steps to take?
Well, our guidance counselor, Mr. Shappett, who's been doing our announcements in a pretty kooky, crazy way every morning, the kids love, and the link to his website and his contact information is with our Encore teachers. And our wellness coach, Mrs. Fosna, has a Google site as well with strategies, but she's been reaching out to parents as well. Those are two big resources for parents at our school. Both counselors are. But also, in our grades, we're fortunate because you've got one classroom teacher. You don't have 6 or 7 different teachers. So I would always tell parent, reach out to the classroom teacher. If it's getting to a level of concern for you as a parent, that classroom teacher can help out immediately. They can personally, Zoom or Google chat with your child. They can connect in a Zoom with other kids in the class for, a 10-minute dance party or games or something to give them that connection again if they're missing that from wherever they're living. So we're trying to communicate with parents as much as possible and suss out who might be struggling, and we're getting those. And then I'm meeting with our assistant principal, Mr. Howell, with Mr. Shappett, Mrs. Fosna, and we're kind of dividing up who's going to contact which family and see how we can help. Okay.
So you touched base on this just a little bit. We're going to do a survey here at the end of this week or beginning of next, and try to hear from our parents in terms of where we should go. I think from a parent perspective, maybe someone wonders, is this how it is and the way it's going to be? But it sounds to me like you're continuing evaluating and working together and kind of modifying this as need be going forward.
We're recognizing our biggest challenge right now are students that receive intervention support, because unlike the regular school day where we have tiger periods or no new instruction periods, you don't have that in the virtual world. So those students are doing what their teachers are assigning in the Google Classroom, and then on top of that they may have additional activities from interventionists. And we don't want that to come across as punitive in any way. So right now, that's the challenge that we're targeting as a staff, and troubleshooting, and how do we want to go about making those decisions so that kids are getting the just right instruction that they need to move forward. And it's not too much for them, and it's not too much for their parents. And which kind of instruction maybe is better face-to-face with the teacher, and which kind can be done through a Google slideshow and some recorded instructional lessons. So that's where we are now, and that's what we're tackling this week and moving forward. But, as we learn, we're continuing to evolve, and I don't know if we're going to be the same every week even throughout this.
So what do you foresee, or how do you foresee this maybe changing when we get back to quote unquote normal?
That's a really interesting question, and kind of an exciting question, actually. We know the biggest challenge with our students, if they're not within our brick and mortar, our building, is that they're not independent. So there always has to be an adult with them to support them. So, it could change the way homework looks. It could change the way maybe summer programming looks. It could change things for some of our students that travel at length during the year. But it's not that we can do yet a blended kind of school where students are home on Tuesdays and Thursdays and only come to the actual facility on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because our students are just not independent. They need adult supervision, and mom and dad might be working, so it wouldn't work out. But it definitely gives us options even within the classroom for differentiating and meeting with small groups and still having very appropriate and engaging instructional activities using our Chromebooks. Even just having the recorded lessons done by our own teachers now, we're really banking a lot of those. Those will be helpful moving forward too.
So is there anything on the kind of teaching academic side that I didn't ask you about?
I think it's hard, like anything else, when something happens in the world. You've got, like I said, almost 500 students coming from probably over 300 families or so, right? And everybody's got different schedules, and one parent household, two parent household, maybe only grandparent household, and different values are out there, and what they believe should be done and shouldn't be done. And so we get outliers often in our critiques, and parents saying we should be giving so much more assignments and work and things like this to kids. And then we get parents saying, you're crazy for asking my kid to do a fraction of what you're putting out there. And I think it's just, at this time, everybody just needs to be very mindful of the fact that there doesn't seem to be a real hard and fast right and wrong. And everybody's using their best judgment. And more than anything, everybody's coming from this absolute place of wanting the very best for their students and for their kids. And that's really all that matters. We can disagree on things, and we can, go round and round about things, but just everybody needs to understand that everybody's working from this. We just want to do our best, and it may be years before we find out if it was absolutely right or wrong.
Very well said, for sure. So probably the question that's on the mind of most Gurney students is, how is Senior? I know he's made some appearances in videos and is along with some of the reading, but how is he managing having his schedule disrupted?
He's, I think he's feeling a little lonely with, just me and my son here. He's reading the Wizard of Oz chapters with me, although I have to say yesterday he yawned a couple times, kind of hurt my feelings. But he's, I don't know if you can see him there. There he is. He's, enjoying a dog bed in every room around the house.
He looks very similar to how he looks at school.
Honestly. It really is. I know. He's often snoring in my office at school too. So, but he is getting more walks these days. We're going out and walking a little bit more. So that's good.
Great. Well, Dr. Jones, thanks for taking some time today to sit down and chat about how things are going. Appreciate everything you and your staff are doing as not only the superintendent, but as a parent as well. So thank you very much, and keep working hard.
Thank you.
All right. We'll talk soon.
Bye.